Hello friends, welcome to my channel Spiritual Seekers, and as you might already know, today's subject is to identify the difference between Dharma and religion. Now this is going to be interesting because most of the people nowadays think that Dharma and religion both are same. So let me clarify the difference with my own interpretations based on my own understanding. Now before I proceed further, I would request you that once you have finished this video, please leave a comment. And what type of comment? Try to identify the flaws in my logic or explanations and write that down in the comment section, that this is the part or this is the point which you disagree. Why I am telling you to do so? Because that will be the food for your brain, for your thought. Okay? So I am not asking you to believe in my words, but rather disbelieve in my words. When you listen to my logics, disbelieve in my logics. Try to contradict them. Okay? Only then you will be able to achieve a goal or get something good out of this video. Otherwise, it will be just a mere, entertainment. And that will not do good to anybody. So let's start. The difference between Dharma and religion. Now, what is the meaning of Dharma, basically? That's a Sanskrit word. Dharma means the inherent qualities of anything that we see. That has got nothing to do with religion. The inherent qualities of anything we see is its dharma. For example, what is the dharma of the sun? It is to give sunlight and heat. That is its dharma. Without that, the sun will not be the sun anymore. What is the dharma of a river? It starts from a high altitude, from a mountain top or a glacier, flows downstream and meets the sea. We will not find the opposite happening. Otherwise, it will not be a river anymore. What is the dharma of a magnet? It has got two poles and it attracts iron. Without this dharma, the magnet will not be a magnet anymore. Similarly, what is the dharma of a dog? It has got a territory to protect, to guard, and they are very loyal. What is the dharma of a rose plant? It will grow only roses, not sunflower. So you understand, whatever you see around yourself, if you observe very carefully, it has got a unique dharma of its own. Without that dharma, it will become something else. So religion is not applied, but dharma is applicable for anything and everything. Number one. Now, what is the dharma of any living creature on earth? It is to preserve the self. Now, all living things are mortal and they will die one day. So what is the solution? Nature has gifted us with the capability to procreate. Thereby, even if the individual dies, the species continues to live on earth. So that is the first dharma of any living creature on earth. Anything you talk about. Be it an insect or a mammal or a bird or a tree or a plant. Anything you talk about. That is the first dharma of a living creature. No religion applied or necessary. Now, what is the dharma of an animal? The first dharma will remain the same. Okay? That is applicable for an animal too. But this is the second important dharma for an animal, which is to eat, sleep, drink, look for a shelter often, and procreate. No religion required. But dharma is still there. Now, what is the difference between a human and an animal? Now, keeping the first two dharma, which is any living creature and then any animal. So they have got two different dharmas. So they remains constant. And in addition to that, for a human being, another dharma is applied, which is to have morality or conscience. Now, many of you might think that morality and conscience are same, but I'll try to explain that to you too, that they are not same, they are different. Now, all the human beings on earth can be divided into two categories, according to me. What are they? One category who has a conscience in them, who doesn't need any external knowledge or any authority to guide him. And that is conscience. So conscience is something which is inside that person. It is not an external factor. This is the first category of people. And the second category of people is those who has no conscience. I'm not degrading them, but due to the situation, due to their background, due to their psychological conditioning, due to their age factor, many things can be there. But they have not grown the conscience inside them. They do not understand what is conscience. So for them, morality is necessary. They need to be guided through moral values or rules or regulations made by some authority. It can be the school, it can be the religious institutions, it can be the parents, anything. But an external authority imposes the moral values. So there is the difference. Okay? Now, morality can be seen in both Dhaarmic books and religious books also. But again, there is a difference. A Dhaarmic book may or may not have a god, but a religious book will always have a god or a goddess or a godman. So that is another difference between a Dhaarmic book and a religious book. Which can be considered as a Dhaarmic book? Vedas and the Upanishads can be considered as Dhaarmic book. Now, what can be the difference? How do you analyze the difference? It is based on the interpretations of an individual. Whether you consider Vedas as Dhaarmic book or a religious book is basically based upon your own interpretation which you will prefer. So if you are a Dhaarmic person, you will consider the Vedas as Dhaarmic. And if you are a religious person, then you will consider the Vedas as a religious book. It is based upon your interpretation. So since for me Vedas are basically Dhaarmic books and not religious books, that is why I will try to explain the same based on my logics. First of all of us nowadays knows about yoga. Now yoga is a subject of Vedas. Now if Vedas are religious books, in that case, does that mean that anyone who is a Christian or belonging to any other religion, they are following Hinduism also, or they are trying to become a part of Hinduism also by doing yoga? No. They are still following their own religion, but at the same time they are also doing yoga, which is a solution to have a better health by the Vedic people, Vedic rishis. So if you think that Vedas are religious books, then in that case, most of the time you cannot follow yoga, you cannot do yoga, because that means you are doing something of a different religion, let's say Hinduism. By doing yoga, it means that you are becoming a part of Hindu religion. You understand what I mean? But I think you realize, people who are doing yogas, they realize that no, by doing yoga, I can still follow my own religion. I'm not changing my religion. Neither I'm getting involved into Hinduism also in terms of religion. Neither I'm becoming a part of Hinduism also. So that should be your first question. See, I'm here to provide you with my own interpretations. It is up to you to analyze them, to judge them, and if you find flaws, mention them in the comments. So how will a Dhaarmic minded person interpret the Vedas? So for him, there is nothing called God mentioned in Vedas. The gods which are mentioned in Vedas are basically the powers of nature, specific powers which belongs to the nature. And for them, the Dhaarmic people, they will interpret the word worshipping with the sense of offering respect, not surrendering. You understand the difference? One is to surrender, okay, and consider God as my superior or the ultimate authority, the decision maker of my life, and fulfill my wishes. For a religious minded person. But for a Dhaarmic person, worshipping means offering respect. Now what is the difference? Now let's say you have a grenade in your hand. Will you play around with that grenade? Or will you consider it very carefully how to handle it? Will you give the grenade to a kid's hand? Or teach him first, educate him first? So, what I'm trying to make you understand is, offering respect means you are not taking that thing very casually. You cannot play around with those things. Otherwise, it can cause a great damage to yourself. That is offering respect. You talk about anything in the Vedas from the Dhaarmic point of view, offering respect. They are praying means they are offering their prayers. Again, there is a difference. One is praying. Praying means when you are praying to God, you are praying according to your own words, according to your own wishes, based on your needs. Whatever comes into your mind, you include that in your prayer. That is what, when you pray, that is what happens. But when you offer prayers, you have a mantra which you'll have to read. You cannot just make out a mantra of your own and read it out. Because you are offering a prayer, you are not praying, you are offering a prayer. And what is a prayer? Most of it is giving respect. Why do we give respect? Because if we do not give respect to that power, that energy, in that case, we may never know its power, and we might misuse that power, which might cause harm to us in return. When you do a research with a virus in a laboratory, what do? You keep the virus in a contained, situation, right? Ambience. So that it does not damage the humans who are there in that lab. So thereby, what are you doing? You are not scared, but you are respecting that thing. You are giving it respect. That I should not cross this line. If I do that, then I might be in danger. And at the same time, I am researching on that particular virus. Means I am trying to know more about it, how it can be utilized. Like snake venom, it is a poison. But again, when you do research on that poison, it can become medicine. So worshipping does not mean surrendering. Worshipping means giving respect, trying to understand it, analyze it, understand how much damage it can cause, control it, work out in such a way that that energy, that power can work in your favor, like nuclear energy. If you respect it, if you know how to control it, in that case it will give you electricity. If you don't know how to do that, if you disrespect it, if you take it very casually, if you make one simple mistake, in that case there would be casualties of huge numbers. So worshipping means giving respect. It is not to surrender. You are not surrendering to the virus. You are not surrendering to the snake venom. You are not surrendering to the nuclear energy that, oh, please, you are God. No. You are giving respect, because this is something which can cause too much damage. But if given respect, if taken seriously, if learnt properly, if educated properly, in that case, these powers can work in my favor. That is called worshipping. So for a Dhaarmic person, worshipping is not surrendering to God, making that particular thing as my authority. It is not that. It is giving respect. Worshipping the Ganga. Do you think like, you are considering Ganga as goddess and you are surrendering to Ganga? Are you jumping into it? No. You are actually giving respect to the Ganga river, to the Ganges. Why? So many cities and villages, so much farming that is dependent on this particular river. If you pollute the Ganges, in that case it will cause harm to humanity. You cannot throw rubbish in the river if you respect it. But of course, if you do not respect it, respect the Ganges, in that case, the same river can spread germs and viruses also and start infecting people, which will again cause harm to entire humanity. So worshipping does not necessarily mean that you are surrendering yourself. You are just scared of that particular thing or that power or that energy. It is not because of that. It is not a blind ritual which you are performing while you are worshipping. You are educating others that this is the Ganges. What is the speciality of the Ganges water? If you preserve the water, if you just fill up a bottle of water from the Ganges, you keep it for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Okay? You will not find, that the water is getting spoiled or it is, having bad odors. No, it will remain the same. It's just like mineral water in the bottle which comes nowadays for drinking. It remains the same even after 1 year also. So the rishis knew it, and that is why they respected it. They wanted to know more about it. What are the chemicals involved in this Ganges water? How they can actually prevent, different kind of skin diseases. They knew about it. And that is why they worshipped Ganges as the mother. And when I'm talking about respect, it includes what do you do when you give respect to the teacher? You learn from him. You resolve your issues. You are not worshipping your teacher and you are asking for a boon that, oh, I will not study. You just, mix all the knowledge in a glass of water, I drink it and I will become an enlightened being. No, you are respecting the teacher because you have something to learn from him. If you do not respect, in that case, you will never be able to learn. Okay? So understand the interpretations. How you interpret gives you the wisdom. So a religious person will consider God as almighty. See, I'm not, bad-mouthing about anything or anybody or against any institute. But these are the difference which I have noticed, and that is why I'm putting it in front of you. Religion is necessary too, and I'll tell that how and why. Idol worshipping is important too. In future, I'll surely make a video of that. So I'm not trying to defame religion, be it Hinduism or Christianity or Buddhism or any of it. But my point is how a Dhaarmic person will interpret the Vedas and how a religious person will interpret the Vedas. And there makes the difference. If you read the Vedas from a religious point of view, you will see that it's full of rituals which has got no, meaning of it, no reason, no cause, no effect. You are just simply worshipping and you are trying to get blessings. That is what you will make out of it if you are reading the Vedas from a religious point of view. But if you are reading the Vedas from a Dhaarmik point of view, then in that case, many of the other features might open in front of you. That okay, why they are worshipping the sun? What is Surya Namaskar? You might have seen that the rishis, while taking bath in the Ganges, they are, praying to the sun. There is a posture called, Surya Pranam also. Now the religious people will think that, they are considering the sun as their God, the supreme authority, and they are praying to him. But the sun is not God, because the sun did not create the earth. God created earth. God created sun. So then there would be clashes. But for a Dhaarmik person, he is offering prayer, not praying. He is offering his prayers to Surya Devta or to the sun. Why he is doing that? First of all, when is he doing that? Early morning at 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Why timing is important? Because the sun's rays are not dangerous at that time. They are not harmful at that point of time. Number 2, why they are doing it? When you understood why they are doing it? Because of vitamin D. To build immunity. In our, villages in West Bengal or across India, you will find that, the grandmother would massage the kid of 6 months with mustard oil and let the, baby take a sun bath in the early morning for maybe, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Is the baby doing Surya Namaskar? 6 months old. Then why the grandmother is following this ritual? If you consider it as ritual. Same thing. To build immunity. To generate vitamin D naturally. So from the Dhaarmik point of view, when you start analyzing something, that why this person is doing this thing, then it may help you to get a proper answer scientifically. But if you try to interpret the Vedas from a religious point of view, you will never understand what is its purpose, what is the cause, what is its effect, what is the result, what is the goal. You will see that, everywhere it is full of paganism. Okay. So, as I was saying, that there are 2 types of people. One who has grown conscience inside them, okay, and the other, due to whatever reason, they do not know what is conscience, and that is why morality has to be imposed upon them or taught to them by an external factor, be it parents or teachers or gurus or religious institutions, whoever that may be. Okay? So what is the difference between a human and an animal? You have understood. A human, morality or conscience is necessary. That is his dharma, not religion, by the way. Okay? In Vedas, they talks about worshipping trees. Okay? Now, from the religious point of view, you might be thinking that, oh, they are worshipping trees. Does it make any sense? Have you ever realized that nowadays it is taught in books that what are the negative effects of deforestation? Who created? Why it has become necessary to be taught in school books? Because we fail to interpret that why the Vedic people taught us to worship trees. It is basically to maintain the balance. The climate also changes. The rainfall will not happen when it is supposed to happen. Thereby, you will not be able to do farming on time. There will be less drinking water in those areas as time passes by. So for a Dhaarmik person, he will understand that, okay, Vedas are asking us to respect trees. Not worship trees as if I am surrendering towards the tree. No. Vedas are teaching us that trees are important in our life. They gives us oxygen. They maintains the balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide. They provides us with shelter. Trees acts as shelter for many species other than humans, such as birds and insects and squirrels and things like that. So if you cut down one tree, it will put a huge impact on many other animals or creatures. That is why before you cut down a tree, you must think twice. That is why it is asking us to respect. And most of all, they will worship the banyan trees. In Buddhism, they worship the banyan trees. Or I think the peepal tree. I'm not very sure. Please forgive me. But again, whether it is a peepal tree or a banyan tree, these trees have a life of 500 years, 600 years, 1000 years also. So if you cut down such a tree, that means you understand what kind of damage you are causing to the nature. And since you have failed to realize the purpose of worshipping trees, that is why today it has become necessary for the entire world to teach the kids about deforestation. But in Vedas, they taught us not to cut down any trees as a Dhaarmik policy. Not because of a religious policy, but because of a Dhaarmik policy to maintain the balance between the nature and our need. To respect a cow, it is not about worshipping cow because the god lives inside the cow. No. A religious person might think like that. That okay, they are worshipping the cow. Oh, this is like paganism. But if you analyze, this Vedic civilization is the oldest and still in continuation. This you can search on Google also, or the Saraswati civilization. Now, this civilization started 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 years back. That is also archaeologically proven. Okay. Now, 10,000 years back, when a civilization has started to grow, at that point of time, just imagine how many benefits they could get out of a cow. Just imagine from that point of view. The cow dung can be used as fertilizers to grow crops, natural. Nowadays you are paying more to get organic food. But in those days, things were automatically organic. There were no chemicals in those days. right? They used to get milk from the cow. Okay? And many other, like plowing the field, having, bullock carts, things like that. And the maintenance cost was also easy. You'll not have to pay anything extra to feed a cow in those days. Cut few branches from the trees and give it to the cow. No cost required. Zero maintenance. And you are getting, proper food. You will not have to ask for milk from anybody else. You will not have to collect fertilizers from anybody else or anywhere else. One simple cow is giving you so many things. Nowadays, you do not care about it. So, the Vedas taught about giving respect. The cow dung. You might be laughing at me that, oh, this guy has gone crazy. Now he has started talking about cow dung. But in those days, 10,000 years back, cow dung was important to prepare a thatched house, a mud house in those days. Cow dung was used as fuel instead of coal. So you're getting fuel, you're getting fertilizer, you're getting milk, you are able to build a mud house out of the cow dung. What else do you need? And on top of that, there is no cost attached to it to maintain the cow. You just collect leaves from here and there, or just let the cow roam around freely in the field. By the end of the day, you will get so many benefits. So for a civilization which is just started to build up, imagine for that civilization how important cow is. And that is why Vedas teach us about respecting a cow. Because they helped to build this civilization. Without the contributions of that cow, today we would not have this kind of civilization which we have right now. It would be totally different. So definitely to build this civilization, no matter in which part of the world you are living, if it is a very old civilization, remember that the cow has contributed a lot into our daily life to build this civilization. You cannot disrespect it. It has become a symbol. You understand the difference between an animal and a symbol? What is the difference between a cloth and a flag? It is the same thing. A flag is also made of cloth. But a flag is a symbol of a country. That is why you cannot destroy it. So it is up to you that whether you consider the flag as a cloth or you consider the cloth as a flag. Because for some people, the flag is a symbol, it is not a piece of cloth. Similarly, for the Dhaarmik Vedic people, the cow is a symbol, not an animal. That is the difference between the interpretations, how you interpret. Now, I have just given few, contributions of the cow. There are many more, but that is not our subject today. I'm just trying to make you understand that how you interpret, that makes the difference. That whether you will gain knowledge out of that subject, that book, or whether you will start hating that book. That is up to you. If you are not open-minded, in that case you will gain nothing out of that book. And if you're open-minded, if you're a seeker, if you want to know that why they were not fools, then why the rishis told us to do that? If you ask that question to yourself, then the meaning will come to you. You do not need a guru or someone else to give you the answers. You will get the answers because the answers are very simple in nature. Okay? The Vedas talks about that your body is a temple. Or you may have heard that health is wealth. Why? Why the Vedas are saying that your body is your temple? Respect your body. That means I will worship my own body. Do you think that those rishis wanted to mean that worship your own body? We put tilak here. Does that mean that I am worshipping myself by putting a tilak? No. They are saying worship your body, because without health you will not be able to do anything in your life. You will remain unsuccessful. No matter how easy that task is or that goal is, you will not be able to do anything. That is why health is wealth. Give priority to your health. Give priority to your body. That is how it comes. Worship your body means respect your body. If you do not respect your body, in that case, you will be a loser in life. As it is, we all know that survival of the fittest. So if you are not fit, in that case you will not be able to survive at all. I'm talking about physically and mentally. And that is why education was important. So many thousand years back. So here you will find that God was not the priority. The priority was not God. From a Dhaarmic point of view, the Vedas were not talking about gods. They were talking about energies, powers, characteristics of a specific type of nature, or a nature element, or an element in the nature. Whereas religious interpretations can be like only it is full of God and ritual without cause and effect. They will think that okay, they were doing this only to fulfill their goals or desires blindly. That is what they are bound to think, because they are not thinking deep enough to identify the scientific reasonings behind each and every ritual or laws which are stated by these rishis or these sages. From the religious point of view, you will always find that they give society the first priority. Whereas in Dhaarmic textbooks, you will not find that happening. Of course, they will prioritize the society, but for them, importance towards the individual is also same. And when I'm talking about individual, it is not every individual with same rules and regulations and restrictions and policies. No. It keeps changing because they are Dhaarmic book, they are not religious book. And Dharma states that not every human being is of same characteristics. Your capability of understanding my language or this video is obviously different from a 5-year-old kid. So his dharma may or may not include to listen to such kind of videos, because he or she will not understand it. But if you are on the spiritual path, if you are a seeker, then it should be a dharma of yours to listen to not my videos only, but to listen to such kind of videos which helps you to gain clarity. That is a part of your dharma. So that means your dharma and the 5-year-old or the 10-year-old kid, that individual's dharma doesn't remain same. But from the religious point of view, the moral values, the rules, the regulations, the disciplines should be same for everyone. That is why it is a religion or a religious book. But for a Dhaarmic book, it changes. That is why Vedic civilization or the Vedic people divided the human life into 4 schools. Starting from 7 or 8 years, they would have to start brahmacharya, which is education, maintain celibacy, use full concentration, leave your own house, stay in the Gurukul or the teacher's house, study all the 4 Vedas. That was the first school. Then Garhastha. So the Vedas are not saying that, okay, you remain a student throughout your life. No. Once you have completed your study, then after that, you leave the school. You start living a family man's life, which is the second school, which is Garhastha. Garhastha means a family man's life. There, you will not have to maintain celibacy anymore. You should get married there. You should take on responsibilities because now you are capable. You have the knowledge, mental and physical capability, both you already have now because you have gone through the disciplines taught by your teacher. So now you are prepared to have a family of your own, get married, have children, enjoy all the benefits which comes your way, fulfill your ambitions, desires, live happily. That is Garhastha or Grihastha or the life of a family man. Then comes Banaprastha. Banaprastha means after 60, if you still want to, do something in your life, then your body will not permit. That is why from 60 onwards, you should learn to give up. Because there will be a restriction, physical restriction, a mental restriction. You should not procreate after 60. Because if you do so, in that case, the children would be weak. So then that will becomes your dharma. That after 60, you should not think about family life anymore. You should not think about increasing your family anymore, kids anymore, number of kids, I mean. Because at that age, that is not your dharma. What is your dharma? To get detached. That is the exact meaning of Banaprastha. Not getting detached, preparing to get detached. This is my house, this is my bike, this is my car, this is my bank account's savings. This is my shirt, this is my bed, this is my room, this is my painting. Just leave them. Learn to give up now from all kind of attachments. Eating food, delicious foods, no, because your body will not permit. After 60, 65, your body will not permit if you are eating meat, red meat especially every day. Though it varies from, country to country, based upon where, in which part of the world you are living. If the climate is cool enough, in that case you may still continue. Or maybe people who are living in, very cold areas, for them maybe eating meat is compulsory. But people who are living in desert-like situation where the heat is too much, in that case, if a 60-65 years old person is consuming red meat every day, of course health will not permit. So that is why give up. Give up your desire to taste more, to eat more. Learn to give up when you enter into this age. And this part of the age is considered as what? Vanaprastha, where you learn to prepare yourself to give up your desires, your possessions, your attachments. Give up on your relations too. And once you are ready, then sannyas, that part of the life begins, which means renunciate, that nothing is mine, nothing belongs to me. Now is the time to prepare yourself how to die, not to be scared of death. How to stay away from diseases and things like that. So the dharma for all these 4 stages of life keeps changing. For a kid, you must maintain celibacy. Because at that age, learning, gaining wisdom, they are more important than the physical satisfaction or the needs. That is why it is a student's dharma to maintain celibacy. Also, at that age, your body is not yet developed. So for an immature body, if you start practicing things which are supposed to be done by a matured body, in that case, what will it do? It will cause harm. So that is why that part of life, the dharma is to maintain celibacy. But again, for a family man, the dharma changes. Now you do not need to maintain celibacy, because now that is the important part in your life. If you maintain celibacy, you will not be able to have a family. Now, since you have maintained celibacy in the previous school, that is why now you have a proper mind and health to have a proper family, a healthy child. So now that is your dharma. What is your dharma? To enjoy the life. Bhog, we say. Okay, to fulfill your ambitions, desires. Because that is also a part of our life. That is also a purpose of our life. There are many people who do not want to get indulged into a family man's life. So they continue celibacy and straight away become a renunciate. That is also allowed. There is no restriction again, because it is a Dhaarmic policy. Because the mindset of that particular person is to gain more knowledge, to know the truth, to get enlightened, to get moksha. So if you force that kind of person to become a renunciate, to become a family man, in that case, what will happen to his family? Half the time he'll think about meditating in the jungle. Now, who will provide food to his wife and children? Obviously, that is going to be a problem. So you cannot imply force onto that particular individual. That is why his dharma then becomes that, okay, if you want to maintain celibacy and become a renunciate, then spirituality is your path. And if you want to follow spirituality, then the dharma of a spiritual person is completely different. At least different from a family man's life. Now, once you cross a particular age, after that, again, you should not think about having one more child. Why? First of all, your health will not permit. Secondly, the child will not be born healthy. High possibility is there. I'm giving you few examples. So again, that is not your dharma. After 60, 65, you should not get married and think about giving birth to a child, because that child may or may not be healthy. The science also says so. So what is your dharma at that point of time? To give up. Because if you do not learn to give up your ambitions, your dreams, your desires, your loved ones, if you continue clinging to your materialistic things, in that case you will not be able to achieve freedom. That is why your dharma becomes different from a family man's life. When you become a renunciate, then your dharma is completely different. So the dharma for a human in one life keeps changing. But from the religious point of view, the morality factor remains same for all your life. You should not have lust. Lust is a sin. I understand. But again, we must understand it scientifically that it is something which has got to do with hormones. Before you get married, you are given a choice to marry one from among 10 girls. How will you choose if you do not have lust? But yet again, lust is a sin. Yes, of course, for a renunciate, lust is a sin. For a student, lust is a sin. But for a person who is about to get married and start his own family, how come lust is a sin for him? Until and unless he is causing any harm to somebody else. Lust is something which happens psychologically, right? I hope you understand what I am trying to tell you. That these are something which is the inherent characteristics of this particular body. You cannot avoid it. There are a lot of chemicals inside our body which changes our psychology also. So if I impose that lust is sin, in that case it may cause harm. I'm not saying always. I'm not saying that this applies for everyone. But for a person who is supposed to get married, how will he choose a man, or how a girl will choose a man, or how a man will choose a girl if there is no physical attraction? Now, what is physical attraction? Love is totally a different thing. That is not physical attraction. What is the other synonym of physical attraction? Please tell me. So if I am supposed to choose a lady as my wife before I am married to her, what do you define that attraction is? If that is not lust, what is that? You mean to say it is love? If that is what is love, according to the definition, in that case let us identify that what is the dharma of love? What is the inherent quality of love? Love means to sacrifice. To get attracted is not love. Love is completely a different thing. And the word love can be applied into any relationship. A mother loves his son. That is also love. A brother loves his sister. That is also love. A person loves his pet, that is also love. Then what is the difference in that love where a boy is supposed to choose a girl to get married? What is the difference in that love? If you exclude physical attraction from that, and if physical attraction is not lust, then what is it? But yes, of course, that is immoral if you are married and you are still trying to, fulfill your physical entertainments from other women. That is immoral. I agree to that. But that is not the point. The point here is, if you are implying a rule which is applicable for everyone of any age, in that case, do you really think that it is logical? That is the point. I understand lust is a sin. I agree to it 200%. But at one point of time, lust is also required in a human's life to build a family, to get married. That part also you need to understand. So lust is not a sin in every scenario. Out of 100, at least you will have to leave 1% where lust is a good act. It is not a sin. Because without lust, you will not be able to procreate. Without lust, you will not be able to make your wife happy. Without lust, you will not be able to form a family. Without lust, you will not be able to create a good bonding between a husband and a wife. So in such cases, lust is important. But yes, you are in front of your wife, but your mind is thinking about someone else. That is also lust, and that is a sin too, which I agree 100%. But that is again not the point. The point is, when you say that lust is a sin, and that is implied on all human beings of all age, there I have a problem. So a dharma will never do that. A Dhaarmic book will always have a solution, a way out. So you understand that in dharma there is nothing called sin. In dharma there is either you are dharmic or you are adharmic. One who is following dharma, the other who is not following dharma. By not following dharma, what you are doing? You are getting ignorant, and thereby you are breeding evil. So from the dharmic point of view, you are not causing a sin, but you are breeding evil. You become a person who is ignorant if you are not following dharma, and the consequence would be evil. It is not a sin, because there is nothing called sin. Yes, from the religious point of view, there is a sin, because there is a fear too in religion, that if you commit a sin, in that case you will burn in hell. Any religion you talk about. Now so what if I do sins? If you do sins, in that case you will burn in hell. So there is a fear. Fear of whom? Fear of authority. There comes God. In dharma, there is no God. You do not wash your hands properly before eating, you will suffer. So your dharma is that before you eat food, you should clean your hands. That should be your dharma. If you do not follow dharma, you are not committing a sin, but you are causing harm to yourself. If you are not washing your hands, you will not burn in hell, but you will be sick. So there is a difference. So in religion there is a sin, there is a hell, there is a heaven, and then there is what do you call it? Liberation. But a religion hardly talks about moksha. It may talk about heaven, it may talk about hell, it may talk about liberation too. Liberation from what? Liberation from your sins. Let me ask you. I am not a sinner. Let's say. You are not a sinner. Let's say. Okay? Maybe you have sinned earlier. For the last 25 years you have not sinned anymore. Fine. Let's say for the sake of the argument. Will you go to heaven? No, you will have to repent for those sins which you have done 25 years back. Yes, I have repented. I have repented. Now what? I'm supposed to be forgiven, right? Will I go to heaven? You still say no. Fine. Okay, I am on my deathbed. And now I am repenting. I have spoken out all the guilts which I have inside me and all the sins according to you which I have committed, and I have spoken that to you, and I have prayed to your and my God also to forgive me. Now will I go to heaven if I have truly done that? Now your answer would be yes, right? Now, in my previous video, day 1, I have already stated that what is hell. Hell is not something, a physical place where you will be thrown physically and you will be boiled in hot oil or something like that. It is a psychological experience, but more vivid than this real life. That happens when the heart stops and the brain still continues for a few more minutes. Though for us, these few minutes are just, nothing but few ticks in the clock. But for the dying brain, this 1 or 2 minutes can be equivalent to 200,000 years or 200 million years also, because for the brain, during those periods, it crosses the boundaries of time and space. Now, this is also scientifically proven, by the way. Please do your research before you doubt this. You should doubt it, but please do your research. And I'll try to provide you with a link also, 1 or 2, which is not related to this channel or created by me. They might be from any hospital or by a research team. I'll try to provide those links in the description. Okay. So what happens during this state of mind? You have already repented and you have also been assured of forgiveness. Okay. Now you have no burden of your own sins. This much is clear? Okay. Now, based on the scientific discoveries, okay, you will be experience something until and unless you are a yogi who knows how to stop the brain and focus on something else. Nothingness, I mean. Okay? Until and unless you are a yogi of that category or a practitioner of yoga and a habitual, person who is capable to go into samadhi and come out. If you are not that kind of person, in that case, you will be going through experiences based on your previous karma. I'm talking about your entire life karma. Now, they have already been forgiven. Your brain knows it very good. What will happen if now you see an accident which you saw when you were very young? An accident where a dog was killed by a bus, hit and run. It will create pain. The moment it creates pain, you start experiencing that pain too. It is like a movie which will be going inside your brain, which we call hell and heaven. Okay? But what I'm trying to say is, the moment you get involved into that memory, you start suffering. And the moment you start suffering, what happens? You start experiencing hell. So you have not sinned, and whatever sins you have committed, you have been, redeemed also for that. So here, I'm not talking about your sins. I'm talking about a memory which is preserved inside your brain, which happened long time back with a dog which was killed by a bus driver, and it actually shocked you. It was very painful for you to see the dog dying, crying loudly, asking for help. No one could help it, and eventually it died after a few minutes. You saw the entire thing, and it is stored in your memory, inside your brain. What happens? That when your heart has stopped, your brain is functioning, and those memories becomes an experience once again for you. You start living in that particular time, in that memory. Once again, you start experiencing it. And since there is no time factor, so it continues on and on and on. Maybe that happened for, the entire episode happened, for 1 hour, let's say. But here, it will be 100,000 years. Do you think you will be suffering at that point of time? If yes, then don't you think suffering is equivalent to hell? So here, I'm not talking about your sin. I'm talking about the function of the brain, the dharma of the brain. You understand? If you have understood this part, then I think you will not be able to rest until you analyze that whether Rajat is telling you something which is true or not. And if it is true, then what is the solution? Because it can happen with me also. And once you look forward, for a solution, you will go in the spiritual path. I'm sure of it. But do not believe in my words. Please do your own research. Please try to prove me wrong. I'll be more than glad. Okay. So, coming back to the point, that in case of religion, there is sin, there is fear of hell and heaven, and there is liberation too from your sins, or liberation from your bad karmas. But for a dharmic person, there is nothing called good or bad. During sannyas, the last stage of life, if you have prepared yourself properly how to die, in that case, things can still become controllable. There are multiple ways which the Dhaarmic books have stated, and if we follow them, then there is a little possibility, depending upon how much time is left in your life, there is still a possibility that you can avoid hell or heaven. You can avoid, truly. So that is the difference between a Dhaarmic book and a religious book. A Dhaarmic book may or may not have God or sin, but a religious book will surely, because otherwise, who will control and how will the religion control the society or the religious community if there is no fear involved in it? Okay? A Dhaarmic book will never say to the citizens that your dharma is to pay to the god, pay tribute to the god, or pay tax to any god. A Dhaarmic book will never say that. And Vedas never say that, okay, a citizen will have to pay tribute to a temple or to a religious organization or an institute. No. The Dhaarmic text will say that a citizen's dharma is to pay tax to the king or the government. But a religious book often will tell you to pay tax or contribute towards that religious organization. That is another difference between a Dhaarmic book and a religious book. You understand? So here, a religious book is imposing a moral law, which is a question of morality, which is that you should contribute whatever you earn, you contribute some part of it to the religious institute. Whether you pay tax to the government or not is not their lookout. And there is no such, nowadays they might say that no, you should pay tax. But who cares? Because laws and rules can be bent. And if you don't do it, then that's a sin. God would be unhappy. See, again, I'm not trying to hurt some sentiment, but this is what I have noticed. And I also know that not every religious institute or organization falls under this umbrella. No, there are many religious organizations who are solely doing charity with or without any rule and with or without any contribution from anyone. There are such kind of religious institutes also. But what I'm saying is that if this clause is to be considered at all, in that case, a Dhaarmic book will never say that a person's dharma is to contribute or pay tax or pay a part of his income to the religious foundation. Instead, they'll prioritize on saying what the Vedic texts say, that a citizen, not everyone though, a citizen must pay tax to the government. No mention about religion, religious institute, organization, NGO, charity or things like that. If you do charity, very good. but your dharma is to pay tax. After paying tax, if you are doing charity, then very good. Okay? Now, another thing. See, dharma, it never talks about God. It cannot talk about God. Because dharma is a journey of an individual. And that is a seeker's journey. A seeker who seeks to know the truth. Dharma will not say that there is God or there is no God. Dharma will, yes, say that, okay, you should respect the sun because you can see the sun. Let's say Dharma will also say that you worship. According to the definition of the religious people, Dharma will say that, okay, worship the river. Understood. But at least you can see the river for yourself. But it will not talk about something which cannot be verified, such as God. It cannot do that. Because the path of dharma or the basic foundation of dharma is to not to believe in something. The foundation is do not believe, verify, and then understand that what it is. Do not believe. That is the fundamental of being a dharmic. That is why a dharmic's path means a spiritual path. It is your job to identify that whether there is God or not. A Dhaarmic book or dharma will always encourage into debates or shastrarth, though both are not same. But still, shastrarth means a kind of debate where two qualified people with the subject matter of spirituality or God will come face to face and try to prove the opponent the flaws. It is simple like debate, but there are other things. There are conditions. In debate, if you lose, it doesn't matter. But in a shastra, it matters. If you lose, in that case, if you are a guru, if you are a teacher, and if you lose in a debate against me, in that case, you cannot remain a teacher anymore. You will have to become my disciple. Then I will become your guru. Dharma encourages that. It always encourages, shastrarth or debates. Because it encourages knowledge, get answers to different kind of queries. But a religious book will never allow that, or hardly will allow that. Mostly it will say, do not get involved into debates. That is adharma. That is immoral. Because that is not your job. That is your authority's job to do. Be it God, or be it your teacher, or be it the institute, whatever it is, that is not your job. Do not get involved into any kind of arguments when it comes regarding your religion. Do not get into arguments. So a religious book or a religion will never encourage any kind of debate to identify the truth. Because religion is the goal, that you believe in God and then you achieve heaven or you get liberation from your sins by an authority. So it's a goal. You follow this, you get this. But dharma is a journey. You learn by walking the path, step by step. Every step gives you experience, new meaning. Keep on seeking until and unless you truly get your answers. That is why Gautam Buddha hated many of the rituals in Hinduism because he was in search of God. And he couldn't find the answer through those rituals. And that is supposed to happen because dharma never tells you that whether there is God or there is no God. It gives you few suggestions. If you walk them, in that case, you will be able to get your answers by your own. And Buddha ultimately never stated that whether there is God or there is no God. But if he would have analyzed the Vedas from a Dhaarmik point of view, not searching for God, but searching for the reasons that why these rituals are there, for whom these rituals were created, why, how these work, then most probably things would be different. Yes, of course, there is a lot of impurity, not only in Hinduism but in every religion. No one is perfect, okay? And there is hardly any enlightened being nowadays in anywhere throughout the world. And even if they are, at least I don't know about them. I'm so sorry. But again, we were again discussing about the difference between dharma and religion. So I hope I have by now explained you multiple points. There are many, many more. Many, many more. But at least I have given you few explanations based on my own interpretations and understandings, that how dharma and religion both are not same thing. They are completely different thing. A religious mind may have doubt. Doubt of what? Is there any God? And why this is happening? Because religion says that there is God. But there are many people who has doubt that whether God is real or something which is man-made. They ask these questions, that did God create me? Or did people like us created God? They ask these type of questions. And when there is no answer, they are thrown out of the society or that community. And that is why theist and atheist. Now let me again tell you one more thing. The religion, they preach. And they'll be able to to tell you about many consequences that God exists. But the problem is, it is like a candy. A person who tasted it can differentiate that whether a candy tastes sweet or sour or salty. And unless the other person tastes candy in the same way, he will always have doubts. So if some religious person is saying that yes, there is God, most of the time you will see them saying that I believe that there is God. Because they neither can prove it and nor they can help others to taste that candy. There is no way out. They'll come up with multiple logics. They'll try to, dominate you with their own logics. They'll start making statements like, you cannot see air. Does that mean that there is no air? And things like that. But by the end of the day, do you really know that there is God? That question comes first. If you say you know there is God, you are lying. I'm not going to, make this video too long by giving you the reasons. But if you say that you know there is God, not believe. Believe I can accept. You believe that there is God, okay, fine, understandable. But if you say that yes, I know that there is God, then you are lying. At the same time, people who doesn't believe in God, if they say that I know that there is no God, then they are also lying. You understand? That is the problem with religion. If someone says that I know there is God, he is also lying. If someone says that I know there is no God, he is also lying. That is why Dharma is different from religion. Dharma never says that there is God or there is no God. Dharma says you search, you find out the truth. That is your path. That is your candy to taste. And once you taste it, do not impose the same thing on others, because that is their path too. Like yours, that is their own path. You cannot force them to believe that the candy tastes sweet, because in that case they'll start believing, and belief may have doubts too. So let them also search. If you have tasted the candy, if you know that it is sweet, then keep it within yourself. Very good. But don't impose it onto others. Don't impose your ideology onto others forcefully or by manipulating it or by logically. Do not impose that there is God or your ideology onto somebody else. Let them search. What is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of life? Who am I? Why am I here? What is death? Is there really any hell or heaven or not? What happens after death? Is there any rebirth at all or not? If you say that yes, there is rebirth, how do you know? That's an ideology, right? You're going to say that, okay, there is something called, these believing in authority. Then let me ask you, if you want me to believe in one authority, I will do that. But please tell me that who is giving me the assurance? You? how do you know that your interpretation is correct about rebirth? How do you know that? You are saying that there is a rebirth, maybe in the form of a goat or a cow or a human or a saint. You are saying that to me and I'm supposed to believe it. How do you know? How do I know that your interpretation is correct? I'm also saying that there is rebirth, but I'm not saying that you are going to be born as a cow in the next life. No, I'm saying that you will face hell and heaven. There will be a rebirth, but that is psychological, not in the physical form. And what I am saying can be proved scientifically nowadays. And that is what is my interpretation. You cannot prove me wrong, but I can have doubts in your interpretation, because you cannot know. To know about it, you will have to die first and then be born as a cow, and then you will have to learn how to speak in human tongue, and then say that okay, I was a human in my past life, and in this life I have become a pig because of my sins, and this is what happens to everyone. So please learn from this thing. It is never possible. So how do you know? Maybe the sages, what they are saying, there is life. Not maybe, I know. What the sages told there is rebirth, there is hell, there is heaven, there is moksha too. And I know that they are telling the truth. But that is not the same what you are telling me. That in heaven you get to enjoy all the, wishes and the facilities and the comforts. Who told you? How do you know that? How do I know that your interpretation is correct? In hell, you will be thrown into hellfire. You will be, cooked there for eternity. I know that the eternity factor is correct. But what is the meaning of eternity? It is something which is beyond time. When does the brain goes beyond time? That is a scientific question. Now, if I ask you, how do I know that your interpretation is correct? You cannot prove me that. You will say that, okay, everyone says so. That is why I am also saying so. If everyone says the wrong thing, I am not supposed to believe everyone's word. That is why Dharma is priority to me, at least. Because it is the path of a seeker. I will do my own research. I will analyze. I will experience. No matter how many years it takes. And once I have experienced it, I know that what you are telling me is just some ideology which you believe in, not your knowing. That is the difference. That is why, again, another point, the difference between dharma and religion. Dharma never gives you any conclusion. Just like Gautam Buddha. He never concluded that there is God. Neither he concluded that there is no God. Because he understood that the concept of God is very, very important for the society. That is dharma. But religion will say, no, there is God. And you are a non-believer and you will be thrown out of the society, or you will be criticized or humiliated. If you want to live in such kind of society, you are welcome. You can do whatever you want to. Because you have power, you have strength. Okay? But these are questions which should make you think twice And if you think that I am wrong, please state them in the comment section. Please do that. Okay? I'll be ready to answer, or at least think about your subject or about your point. I will read each and every comment. If it is, according to the context. And if you are hurt, please do not, continue listening to my channel, because in that case, this channel is not for you. I am very sorry, but I am not here to tell you stories or sweet talk or give lectures or to convince you into something. I told you, do not believe in my words, but please investigate what I am saying. And nowadays, everything is on the internet. Everything. I'm talking about the research papers. Okay. One more important thing. That is, Dharma states that ignorance breeds evil. Why this is important? It just came into my mind. Because many would be now thinking that this guy is an evil. I know that. Because I'm hurting many, humans' ego or belief or ideology. See, I am not against you. I just don't want you to suffer. That is all I want. That is the sole purpose of this channel. So, you may find evil in me, because right now I am hurting you through my words. I am breaking your belief system. I am hurting your beliefs. But by the end of the day, all I am trying is to raise questions in your mind so that, you can truly understand the purpose of your life. Because when that moment comes, no one on earth will be beside you to help you, to guide you, to suggest you, to hold your hand. It is a very lonely path where you will have to walk alone. And if you are not prepared, in that case, it will hurt you. And I'm not saying this out of my belief. I'm saying this out of my experience. I'm a sinful person too. I'm a very ordinary person. And I'm a seeker, which I told in my previous video also, that since I'm a seeker, so thereby I'm not qualified to become a guru. So I'm not here to give you gyan. I'm here to raise a few questions so that it actually shakes your fundamentals and forces you to rethink about whatever you have learned till date. What is going to be my gain out of it? I think with these words, more than gain, I should be be scared, because people who would love this video max to max, they will give me a like or they will subscribe, and in return I might get paid from YouTube for a certain amount. But just imagine if I'm hurting someone, then I should be really scared upon realizing the consequences. So if you think about what am I gaining through this speech, think about what are the possibilities for me of getting beaten in the middle of the street. I won't like it, but still I will continue. So, as I was saying, the Dharma says that ignorance breeds evil. Most of you ask this question, that why there is so much evil? If there is God, then why a kid is dying? They are innocent. Why so many innocent people are dying in war? They are innocent people. Right? So many things. Let's talk about an animal. Why the animal is in so much pain if there is God? And you will most of the time, if you ask this question to a religious person, he will say, that it is because of his past lives karma, or it is a test which is taken by an authority to test you. It is your exam. Okay? Or sometimes they might tell you that, okay, God also created evil to test or to temptate you. They might say that also. Okay? There is no logic, but still, fine. But if you follow Dhaarmic text like Vedas, then you will find reason behind it. What Vedas say? Ignorance breeds evil. And that is scientific. Ignorance. Ignorance to what? Ignorance to knowledge. Ignorance to wisdom. Ignorance towards the disciplines which I am supposed to follow. When you don't do that, you create your own destruction, or you breed evil. Let's say about breeding evil, okay? What is the dharma of a wife and a husband before giving birth to a child? While a woman is pregnant, she must follow her dharma, which is different from the dharma of a daughter or the dharma of a wife or the dharma of a friend. It is completely different. Or the dharma of a neighbor. It's different. When the woman is pregnant, her dharma is to focus on what kind of food she is consuming. That becomes her dharma. She should remain clean, because if she gets infected, or if she does something which actually invites sickness, okay, like in the middle of the night, you just start taking a bath, okay. I'm not talking about now, but it is still applicable nowadays also, okay. So if you are pregnant and all of a sudden you are feeling hot, that is why you go to the shower and take a bath at 2 o'clock in the morning. Obviously you will fall sick, or at least there would be a high possibility that you will have cold and cough. What will happen if you have cold and cough? You need to take medicine. Nowadays, the doctors also do not prescribe anything apart from, paracetamol to a pregnant lady. So, when you are pregnant, your dharma now is different. That whatever you consume, you should be cautious about it. Because there are different kind of food which causes abortion also. And there are different kind of food which helps the growth of the fetus also. So food is important. Cleanliness is important. I'm not only talking about cleaning, keeping your body clean. I'm talking about mental cleanliness also. Keeping the ambience clean, that is also your dharma. Pious. Any disbalance, that will have a negative consequence and ultimately put an impact on the fetus. We do not realize that because we are nowadays ignorant about these things. No one to teach us. We don't know how to read Sanskrit. We are not interested in Vedas. So we are ignorant. And what happens? We breed evil. I'm not talking about the child is evil. But the consequences would be evil. When the child will be born, there is high possibility that it can be a premature baby, or it will have defects in his limbs or in organs. In Vedic calendar, there is a time when to sow a seed in the ground. If you are cultivating crops, there is a time. You may take it very casually because there is no scientific proof yet. But based on the Panchang or the Vedic calendar, they usually provide you with a specific time when to actually sow the seed. You understand what I mean? Because those timings will be favorable for the fetus or for the crops. Both are same. You are planting a tree or you are giving birth to a child. Both are life. So the conditions should be favorable, season-wise or astronomically, whichever way you want to consider it. We are ignorant about it. But let's say about morality. If the mother has got no morality, if the mother doesn't have any respect towards her husband, in that case, the child, even if he is born healthy, what will he learn from the mother? If the mother is not respecting the husband, then the child will learn not to respect his father also. Ultimately, the consequences would be evil for the family and for the society. So, in simple words, ignorance breeds evil. It never says God has created evil. No. Ignorance creates evil. Ignorance towards what? Towards dharma. What is your dharma? If you ignore that, simple thing. Dharma says that you should not eat any creature which just comes on your way. But we are ignorant. Now someone somewhere ignored his dharma. He started eating rats and bats. And what he did is ultimately infected himself with coronavirus. He never cared about dharma, bothered to know about it. And the entire world had to suffer because of it. Small example. That is ignorance. The consequences were evil. So many people lost their lives. Such a turbulent situation for all of us. So many people lost their job. So many people lost their loved ones. Because of whom? Why? Because of ignorance. God did not create it. We created it out of our ignorance. And that is exactly what Dharma wants to tell us. But again, religion says that evil is again created by God. Maybe. It is up to you to decide. Okay. So I hope now you have understood that what is the difference between Dharma and religion. What is morality and what is conscience? Morality is basically laws imposed by an external authority upon someone who has not developed his conscience yet. That external authority can be a teacher, can be the parents, can be the religious gurus or the teachers or religious institutes. It can be anything. But they are external rules and laws imposed by somebody else upon an individual. So you have understood the difference between morality and conscience. Conscience is something which is developed within someone. It has got nothing to do with the outside world. Introspection. It happens through introspection. When you start analyzing your own acts, own doings, own karma, own thoughts, that is introspection. So that is conscience. Conscience is something which remains within us. So if you have found this video interesting, please do give it a like, share and subscribe. As I told you last time, that will help me to earn from YouTube, and thereby it will help me to actually fulfill my responsibilities towards my family and also spend some time creating these kind of videos for the world. If you have objections, if you have found some contradictions in my explanation, please do let me know about those too. I'd be very happy. Thank you for your time and patience. And as I said, do not consider this video as just an entertainment. If possible, please keep it saved in your watch later folder and try to listen to these videos once again and identify that whether there are flaws or not, or try to analyze them, try to judge them, try to do research upon these logics. It will then make your journey much easy. You will not have to believe in anybody, or you will not have to rely on any authority, because a apart from conscience, there is another thing called superconscious. And to me, superconscious is God. And that contains the DNA of your ancestors. I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about many, many, many generations. So superconscious is formed by your ancestors, contribution, and it can never be changed or altered or manipulated or conditioned. And that is your guru, that is your teacher too. So when your conscience cannot give you the correct reply, take help from your superconscious. Sit in the posture of meditation. Focus on your question or trouble or problem. Let a conversation begin between your conscience and superconscious, and I guarantee you will find your answer. You will not have to find anybody else, at least in most of the times. Thank you once again. Thank you.